One of my favorite topics, and probably a topic that is on the mind of a lot of business managers. The question comes to mind, what can we do to get our staff going? What can we do to change the mix so that our staff are maximally productive, engaged, honest? These are the questions that go through a manager's mind. And for an employee's point of view, it's similar. We're looking at when we look at jobs, for example, we'll very much look at the bonuses, the holidays, the salary and package, for example. So the question of motivation is a very important one, but I think a lot of us make the mistake of thinking about it in the wrong way. And I just wanted to show you one of my favorite videos on this point. It always makes me laugh. So motivation. This cat is motivated. He wants the boss to get up and he's trying his best. He's using, as you can see, a very directed meowing to try and wake up his boss, dad. He's very persistent, as you can see. He's not giving up. And he's increasing the intensity in order to achieve his goal. So motivation is often seen as goal-orientated, directed. That should do it. You've got to love it. But motivation, cat video or no cat video, is not a simple affair in terms of how you play it out in the organisation. I just wanted to bring your attention to a couple of books. Why Do We Do What We Want and Punished by Rewards. Two different books, two very different authors, written at different times, but very much a similar message, which is that by fiddling around with rewards, we are motivating people, and we are also demotivating them. We're weakening their sense of intrinsic motivation. I think of it this way. I'm a bit of a helper. I have friends, and I think my role within my group of friends is to help. And I think that's great. It improves my self-esteem, etc. But occasionally I stop and ask myself, what is it that I'm actually doing to my friends by helping them? I'm saying that I'm in the position of authority, that I'm the superior one, and that you're weak and that you need help. That is a dangerous message to be subconsciously or consciously sending to my friends. And am I really helping them? It's a similar question we need to ask when we introduce bonuses for sales. And as a boss, I found this happen to me frequently, that if I didn't handle the motivation side of things right, and I focused too much upon just the common currency of motivation, which is money, sort of errors would creep in, and that people would not respond in the way that I expected them to respond. The other thing to be said about conventional currency of motivation, money, is that people get used to it very quickly. A couple of quotes from Detchi's work. The seeming fragility of this intrinsic motivation is quite haunting. Once you've begun to use rewards to control people, you cannot go back. So as a manager, try a little experiment. Try cutting wages. Try cutting bonuses and see how that goes. It's truly amazing, as pointed out by our findings, and both these books are really heavily empirically based, that if people are ongoingly treated as if they are passive mechanisms or barbarians needing to be controlled, they will begin to act more and more that way. That's a spelling mistake there. So in terms of how you motivate people, this issue of understanding your staff and tailoring your motivational tactics to suit the staff that you have rears its head again. I think of a couple of examples that will help you to see what I mean. There was a charity that changed the name of its senior staff from managers, and that's a common throwaway line now. He's the sales manager, he's the executive cleaning manager, or whatever, and changed them to specialist. And the people saw themselves as managers, and when they were disempowered by just a title change, it had a significant impact on the engagement and job satisfaction of the staff. Nothing to do with money, but probably because it was tapping more into internal processes. And the trouble with these external motivation techniques that we use is they tamper with our internal motivation skeleton, the structure of how we motivate ourselves from within. There's also a lovely study I sometimes use in class that looks at very good, well-conducted study that looks at performance of a range of pizza shops, and in a traditional sense of looking at leadership within this setting. And they found that there were staff stores where motivational, charismatic, lovable leaders were producing worse results with staff than more introverted, quieter, in the background, supportive leaders. And they found that the issue that play here was the issue of fit. Motivational leaders were needed for people who required motivation, but for people who were already coming to work with a self-directed, self-focused ability to drive themselves through the day, they were actually demotivated by charismatic, motivational, all over you managers of the style that we read about in all these leadership books that hit the New York Times bestseller list. That type of leadership, in fact, produced lower productivity, lower profitability at particular stores where the staff didn't require that kind of leadership. I hope that helps you think at least about motivation in a little bit of a different way. But those two books, definitely worth reading.